All right, there we go. Welcome back, folks. Apologies for the delay. There was a slight shuffling of power around the lobbies, but we are back to see potentially a flex, a power play from, so far, looking like the CIS Kings here. Virtus.pro, 2 games up in this best of 5. And straight away, T, coming out with an aggressive start. The Rubik and the Ursa.
Yeah, have we seen an Ursa yet over these games? I don't think we have.
I'm trying to think.
We've
seen one.
We've seen one game. Yeah.
Because remember, I was like nerding out. Because you know me, I'm an Ursa boy. I like it, and I was talking about the barrel rolls over all the little choke points.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting start. And again, you see, HellRaisers first pick the call. VP instantly snap pick Rubik Ursa. What happens in these drafts is you understand what teams would like to first pick over a series of games, right? So then potentially VP, they've kind of already worked out this opening in their head. So you see the call, snap pick Ursa Rubik. So, this will be an interesting one. And Ursa against Ember, the matchup's all about if Ursa has the better start, so the build normally is like phase, drum, basher. Potentially you could add the a blink into that, but also with the changes to Abyssal Blade, that little bit of connection, it takes away the extra bit of kite that Ember has. So yeah, so right now it's looking like a good start for both teams with their draft.
Yeah, it's a race to who can jump who first, right? Like both of these cores act on actions first. It's proactive, and both are usually quite poor at reacting. Like we talk about Ursa and Highs in rage, but let's say you get hard stunned to begin the fight, hero can actually melt in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the Cuddle Ember, the lane is pretty strong. It can just non-stop have that chip and an annoying factor. To mitigate that, having an offlaner that has a little bit of life steal allows you to get through that kind of physical damage non-stop chip. So potentially, maybe even a Legion Commander could be a good pickup for Virtus.pro.
Well, Virtus.pro, they're not going to take the chances. Magnus does get banned out. It's upsetting as well. I prepared some Magnus facts. For some reason, his ability calls him a Magnetor. All right, so we're going to slowly and eventually change Magnus's name. Okay,
so to be clear, these are facts, not stats.
Yes, these are facts.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Like if you actually hover on power, it says double the effect on Magnetor. So.
Beautiful, very majestic.
Like technically, maybe this is a spoiler to the next hero. They're going to add in another Magnus, like of his race, right? So you can then empower him for double value to hold up war.
Oh no, this sounds like it's a dark hole to go down.
Well, good thing you mentioned dark, because Willow is in. And you know, this relates to the last game. We were talking about Trin basically stealing her Bramble Maze spell and painting it green, but here's the originator of Bramble Maze.
And this boils down to the whole idea of laning phase. So VP, they've won the lanes in 2 out of 2 games, which has then transitioned into their aggression being able to win them the game. Willow, in these dual lanes, in these tri-lanes, it has a really good amount of aggression. And VP, they're just non-stop picking.
Well, so HellRaisers, this is the going.
Christ.
I mean, I was wondering if the Venom was going to make an appearance considering the Ursa first phase. Because, I mean, you know me, I am a connoisseur of Ursa in various ways. And I was sitting here going, is there a possibility that with such an early Ursa pick that this could be a support? Unlikely now, but we have seen Rubik mid in the past.
I think this is probably a solo Rubik with the save playing the Willow, and then obviously you have the classic offlane Mars carry Ursa. I think they have last pick on Virtus.pro, so they're setting up their side lanes to enable their win condition to be on mid. So for example, like maybe Medusa, because again, this HellRaisers draft, it's all about this chip and this damage over time type lineup. And a Medusa, she doesn't really care. She's going to be tanky. She can deal with this, and especially when you have these very utility active kind of side lanes with the Ursa and the Mars, then it's going to enable whatever hero that you put mid. And HellRaisers, their draft, it's very so the Tusk gets a reaction to the aggression of the laning from the Rubik and the Willow. If you bring a Tusk to a lane, you're going to be able to kill these supports very easily, and even either of these cores. So it's HellRaisers are ensuring that they have an answer to what Virtus.pro can bring to laning phase. The Veno, it's a reaction to the Ursa. So it's really important if the Veno has a good game and can non-stop be a nuisance towards this Ursa, then it can have its place. But they do lack the team fight. And this is the biggest fear right now when you look at the two drafts, is Virtus.pro, they have this ability to run at you. They have this strong lane and this strong team fight, and they still have last pick. HellRaisers, they have a strong laning phase, but when they transition from the laning phase into that mid game, when they go to objectives, they rely on the coddle for most of their team fight.
And there's a big concern that when you look at HellRaisers, you know, they've picked heroes that kind of want to win their lane when you think of the Tusk. But the Veno, yes, is a good counter Ursa. Pretty good against Mars, but you can only be on one of those lanes. And when you compare outside that, it feels like VP is going to either have a good lane for Ursa or the Mars, no matter what you do. And it is going to be the no one Rubik.
Okay. So that is an answer to the Veno, is if you pick this Oracle last, you can kind of mitigate a little bit of the nuisance that he brings to the Ursa. So the Oracle is now an enabling factor, and then Rubik against Pugna, it's kind of sad for the Pugna because you want to be spamming your spells, but this Rubik, he's going to steal your blast, and he's going to have a better blast than you, so...
It feels like Solo read this from an early point, right? Like, we mentioned this early Ursa pick. This Oracle had to have been in his mind for most of this draft.
But it's I think it's simply the flexibility of when you have this Rubik and no one says, oh, I can play it mid, I'll play it mid if, and then like 4 or 5 heroes are mentioned, right? So if those occur, then you have the ability to utilize your last pick, not for a core role, but for the support that can enable your side lanes. So I think overall it's just it's a clean approach to the draft from Virtus.pro, and approaching each pick with some form of logic that allows you to utilize it.
It's definitely been one of the strengths, right? Is the pulls,
100%.
Especially with Rezo joining the team, like come from that previous role. There's clear flexibility. We see a lot more teams actually try and prioritize that, right? Getting cores in that can flex roles back and forth. A big thing over the last year, I'd say, has been this shift from having flexible mid/carries, which can interchange.
Yeah, I think with the
prepare for a lesson.
With Resolution being in this team, it's the fact that he used to be like the hard carry, and it's how he's morphed into this offlane role, and he can play like these Lycan heroes that need to be a bit more farm intensive, but it's still the fact that he can diversify his playstyle, and he's broken away from what kind of made him a big mainstream pro player.
I also like this bulwark start. I was theory crafting about this on the lane just to try and like bait against ranged heroes so that you can actually get CS and such. But right now,
VP, what
is the why? Like,
this is so majestic. This is absolutely majestic.
This is the flex.
Also the biggest insult VP could put onto HellRaisers.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, I was wondering if he's gonna wait in the lane because my justification was like, it's not bad against ranged heroes because you draw aggro potentially, so your support can out aggro theirs, right? But let's face facts. The reality, this is genuinely just a hard flex in a BM in the mid lane.
Is literal BM.
I had to hover over bulwark. I was like, have they made it like Centaur's ability now? Nope. This is just genuinely.
You're quickly reading it like, Mars wields his massive shield to block a portion of each physical... Nope, there's no gains from this. I repeat, there is no gains. This is simply just BM.
They even gave him a shared tango just in case it backfires.
Just in case he tanked too many tower hits.
I mean, I guess you could maybe argue they were scouting mid, but no. No. That's not what this was.
Okay, so... Oh, God, memes aside... Laning phase is about to start, and it is critical for HellRaisers. The last 2 games, they've been unable to take a lead in the laning phase. And with this draft especially, they need some type of lead to be able to utilize their skill set.
The rough part is going to probably be this Veno. If you don't find instant impact out of this hero, I mean, I harp on it enough, is this hero doesn't do much for you in a huge vacuum of time from about the 10-20 minute mark. Unless you're fighting around him directly, he just wants to be left alone to shove a lane.
More importantly, the rotations on both sides. You've got Veno just running bottom.
Yeah, but they look at this, because Epileptic, he went mid, and then he rotated around again. Like, they spotted it early, and if you look at the wall place of HellRaisers, theirs was designed to instantly identify which lane the Ursa was in. But because he spends so long, he just comes back around in time, and now Veno's going to be off the lane for a wave or two.
My only concern was the time when Ember was bottom, he ran top. The Veno was just kind of standing in his jungle. And it was as if they were like communicating, am I going bottom? Am I staying top? or he was waiting to potentially use his TP, and then the comms were don't use your TP. So now he's going to be a little bit late to lane, where the Ursa might be getting just about near enough level 2. And the Veno v Ursa matchup is all about that laning pressure, the instant level 1, the ability to be a nuisance from the get-go.
Which was already going to be hard enough with an Oracle in this lane with the Dispel. Even worse in this case. At least Pugner, though. Nyx is off to a good start. No one is behind him on CS. 2 denies, 8 CS on Nyx compared to the 4-1 on no one.
So they're having to TP out now.
Yeah.
And this is the strength of this lane. If Oracle or Ursa are slightly out of position, they will be punished from the Tusk Venom. It is a very strong lane.
I'm disappointed by Rezo. He hasn't been toggling Bulwark to redirect the attacks in Pushka from save. And you can already see the difference in trade. As save... Oh, the South got interrupted as well by the Blinding Light.
He tried standing behind... Oh, there wasn't even a tree there. I was going to say, he literally just got cancelled. Excellent. All right, cool.
Here's an idea, kids. How about the nerf to Kotl is we just don't do damage with Blinding Light? At least on level 1.
It's 50 damage. You need to give the guy something.
It's a salve can. It's pretty good range, to be honest. The AoE is big.
Just salve better, man.
Just run all the way back to your tier 2 towers, then use your salves. He can't reach you there. Kotl can't hurt you if you're not playing the game.
That I can't fault that logic. That you've really done me in there.
You know, I try.
If you're not playing the game, you can't lose.
Hey, that's why I'm a caster and not a player. Okay.
Ah, I see.
You know, every game is a win to me. Win in our hearts. How are these lanes looking so far? Are you feeling good about this bot lane? Like Ursa, 13 free CS already.
Yeah, I think because he's playing within the lane, he can farm. There's the potential where if he steps up, so past this mark here, if he walks past this line, then he will get pressured, instantly tag team into a Gale. But because he's just playing within this back square, the Oracle's always close enough to be able to purge off and help his Ursa. So it's all about positioning in this lane.
This is why the big difference with Venos compared mid versus out lanes is Gale over the ward build and top. Okay. I mean, I know I said Blind Light's good, but it's not be right up in melee range good as the first blood is drawn and it's the push that goes down and instantly afterwards Oracle in the bot lane. Alright, you can't kill Ursa because it's farming too close to the tower, but in fairness, Oracle has been pulling these waves pretty consistently.
Yeah. And both these side lanes are all out positioning. You saw about bot. Ursa has to play within that pocket. Same with Oracle. He has to play off the pool, but still close enough to his tower where he can't get tag teamed and Gale. And with Kotl in the top lane as well, it's the same principle. He can't be out of position, slightly out of the lane, because he will instantly die to the bramble into a spear.
It's also the nature of the Ursa, right? It's this type of hero that you have to try and stay off the lane because getting him to like level 3 at least is crucial as fast as possible. Because, well, I mean, Fury Swipe's level 1, it's just a mild tickle.
But the level from the lane swap, the fact that Veno's level 2 and the Ursa's 4, it now means that there's a little bit more aggression coming out from VP. They're not as scared as they potentially should be in this lane.
Yeah. They didn't actually set it up so they could get the debuff off of Ursa, so the Gale stopped any aggression, as they could have got a kill in Tusk at that point. But they're at least keeping the Veno back. I mean, he's getting reasonable CS, but Ursa is still looking fairly well in a lane that usually you give him the downside of.
He's looking healthy. But
Solo
on the other hand, doesn't have the purge, so he's going to be extremely slow.
There we go. Shard's even helping. The awkward part is because you're always using it to purge off the Gale, it means instead of getting kills actively, you're just being the defensive element of the lane. Maybe if they get 1 point nerf shock at level 5, that can change. Feels like that actually would be the play, with that kind of repositional factor against a slow hero like Veno.
It's all about the kite. I think right now he just needs raw damage, so I think that's more later on. I think if he just continues with his Fury Swipes and overpower build, then he's going to have kill potential. If he goes for Earthshock, he does lack a little bit more of that damage. And this lane's all about how much damage can you get in the short time that you've rooted him. Because once that root expires, he will just disengage.
I think I was maybe looking at it from the perspective of like reposition, slow a little bit, because you're probably using the Dispel on your Ursa, and that might get the root range. But I guess the other big problem here is mana.
It's mainly the slows between a Gale and like the Venom slows and an Ursa slow. They're so mismatched that it doesn't really matter that even if Ursa did slow the Veno's still 50% faster.
Oh yeah, it's talking like, for example, now if he was this spell and you roll in sort of situation.
Sure.
But it's like this cute play scenario which you'd love to have, but I think it really is the biggest thing is the mana aspect. Like overpower, you can already see how Epileptic Kid spent most of this lane half mana or less. This feels a little bit too costly on top of that.
Exactly. No one. No one.
No one.
No one is shrining up. I got no way of pronouncing his name, by the way.
Definitely no. No one. He's the cousin of No One that never No Win, who is also his second brother, and Nobody is the long lost cousin.
Oh, what a beautiful family. Very good at Dota. No,
yeah,
no
but the family foes are problematic because no one's ever in them.
I'm not even going to entertain that. Moving on, Pugna, he's actually able to farm the jungle a little bit better.
Moving on to solo in the bot lane and the top lane. Now you can go talk about your jungle. The other lanes are sorted. Death's everywhere.
Death's everywhere for sure.
But Royal Jelly. Little snack for him while he farms up in the jungle.
It is probably one of the better items, but no, it's again, it's the same situation where no one has played a decent mid lane and he's able to just apply pressure, and Pugna feels like he needs to make more movements on the map.
However, against Willow that can just TP away. Maybe not the best choice. Maybe this one though. Rezo, spear away. Okay, spoke too soon. That one's not going to work either. The ice shards though.
All the shards.
Just the tip for the tickle, and now the Never Blast gets the kill.
It is important to note, even though HellRaisers draft does look a little bit clunky, they do have the Cuttle Pugna strategy.
But bot lane. This is the thing. You make that move top, and it exposes a slight vulnerability bot as your Veno is left all alone.
Ursa v Veno, it's all like Veno is stronger up until Ursa is level 6. As soon as Ursa is level 6, as soon as you waste Gale, you instantly purge it off with the Enrage, and then the Veno should die with any support, any extra lockdown. But yeah, so going back to the Cuttle Pugna, this strategy, if you get a little bit of a lead and get to the towers, you just chakra the Never Blast, and you can eat through towers.
Machine gun it basically. It's like you just dash WTF into the console and you have admin powers.
Yeah, it's a very good strategy, but you also have that pairing with the Ember, so it is a very good game for the Cuttle Ember, the Cuttle Pugna. It's simply the rest of the heroes and how they match up.
In the end, you have to think of Cottle as a legitimate version of the Wii Fresh. Tusk in the mid lane, however, does get caught out trying to rotate onto no one. You gotta respect the Rubik core. You know, this is the issue. You come to his lane, all you're really doing is giving him spells as well. At least with Tusk, you don't tend to max out the ice shards or the snowball early. And Rubik doesn't really want to take the tag team away from you. Question is, do you feel like this Tusk is gonna be able to be that relevant as we move past the laner phase? Because usually you have to shift across to a save role. And against these heroes, is there a concern like it's hard to escape against a Mars who's used his first arena to run away?
Yeah, I think that's just generally a problem between the two drafts, but it's how they approach this. Like this aggression coming out from HellRaisers is what they need to do. They need to make the fights very...
Elmo.
He committed all his remnants to the kill, so...
Alright.
Wasn't optimal, that's for sure. No, but this is the type of aggression that allows you to get a place in the map. Allows for the Pugna to start chipping down these towers. The Pugna's kill potential isn't present within this game, simply because the Oracle can always face Edict onto the target that Pugna is going onto. So it takes away that big burst damage that you normally have from this Pugna.
That's no problem. So after we just praised the power of Cottle, a means to actually diffuse that issue. Elmo in the mid lane has one remnant this time. They won't be able to
Elmo's having such a rough time, only level 7, whilst the Ursa is nearly like a quarter of the way to level 9.
Yeah, and he is actually committed to the Midas build. I felt like we were seeing a die-off of this breed, but Ursa is one of those few heroes that it still feels so relevant, right? Because what else are you going to build? There's maybe an argument for Maelstrom because of overpower, but it doesn't feel like a great item on many melee heroes.
Yeah, not at all. I don't think that item should ever be on an Ursa skill set, item build. But this is a game where he can see that if this goes late, if he has the items, this game should become pretty comfortable for him. So
and the pressure's not on him
Midas
early on, right? Because you've got a Rubik and a Mars, so you should be able to be more greedy like this.
Exactly. They can take these earlier fights. He can just greed up and allow for that big explosive damage in the mid game.
Oh, explosion in the mid lane. Pugner getting low. Terrorize actually just helps him run away, and there's going to be false promise.
No
Rubik
one.
trying to escape. He has a remnant left. Going deeper may not be the solution, and he's just giving up on life. Or has he?
Oh,
He just about lives. The false promise did heal him enough, but barely.
I was worried he didn't have an additional remnant out, and he was. But
Yeah.
luckily he did.
But top. Epileptic Kid gets involved. Rezo, good arena this time, gets a kill.
I won't lie.
Oh, his clarity's still running.
Lie.
Oh,
Unexpected.
against the Veno, who has
That's when you know it's a
micro.
good gank.
There we go.
When the clarity's still running the entire time after a gank.
Especially against the Veno.
That is beautiful.
Like,
Yeah,
it took him so long to
Plague
actually micro his Plague Wards.
He was a dead man. He was thinking about what was next.
He's just looking at the
Couldn't think of
CS instead of the clarity. But I could get myself 50 gold, or I could deny the rest of his 50 gold.
Yeah, I think it had diminished because it only had like 4 or 5 seconds left. So technically, you know, was it really 50 gold? Was it more like maybe 5 gold?
Oh, Rezo, there we go. Another hero that likes the new patch with God's Rebuke. Yes, please. And he's back at it again. Let it begin once more.
But again, you can see HellRaisers positioning. They're doing the same thing that they did in the last game, where they're kind of doing this split. In the last game, it was on the Radiant side, but now they're kind of doing the exact same movement. Maybe if they can... I think their biggest concern is actually getting to taking a tier 1 tower.
Well, they don't have a concern about fighting as they're doing it again. This time on a solo, doesn't have the false promise. Will fall. TPing from Rubik. He just picked up the Blink Dagger, though. The pings come out. They know he's on his way, so he'll cancel it. But the biggest concern is the top lane. Now the Midas completed. At 13 minutes, Epileptic Kid has just been left to his own devices.
And the mid lane, you got Plague Ward on Plague Ward action.
Oh. Kind of cannibalism when you think about it. He just wants the tower slowly but surely. Down to 300 HP now. Blink in, lift. He's got the Fade Bolt, and that's enough. Benno needs to learn how important HP is. And with that rotation, Ursa makes sure the mid could be secure, but now the snowball cross. No one doesn't have Blink for 4 more seconds, and he doesn't have any life. So he's definitely out of time. Ignis goes down. Ursa, no! He doesn't make it over the ice shards. The Enrage is going to be used, but what the hell do you do with it? Trying to move away. False promise. Maybe you get him out, but they're chasing. Solo's pushed back alongside the Ursa. The Terrorize to scare them away. Beautifully done. Save catches all 4. They keep their Ursa up and in one piece.
That was one of those a little bit too deep dives that VP has kind of showcased throughout all these games. It often doesn't come back to punish them, but the
3
Ursa not
games
dying
in,
is key.
you expect HellRaisers to be wise to it. As you said,
And that's why they
Ursa's
brought
key.
the numbers.
Yep. Going for that bash next on the Ursa, by the way. I mean, you know, the Rubik, he can bring the kills to you, the arenas as well. This is a good game to just ignore Blink to an extent, right? Because you do have a lot of lockdown around the Ursa.
Yeah, you don't want to buy Blink in this game. There's a Veno in the game, and there's so much stuff to annoy you. You need to itemize for the fact that they're going to be elusive, and they're going to have ways to kite you. So you need to build into like bashers and just move speed to get around the fight. Maybe even a nullifier.
Pugner, by the way, was finally able to take a tower, but we are 15 minutes into this game now.
But that is like the starting point for HellRaisers. The issue across the series is they haven't had deep vision. They haven't been able to actually take. Have you seen the ward placed by? Have you seen the Mapushka ward? You can all. By the way, fun fact.
You can place Techie Mines, yeah.
No, you can actually jump into that area. You can blink
Really?
into this area as well. And then once you're in that area, your vision is locked to what this ward is. So if you accidentally blink, you're stuck in a hole, and they can see you from high ground into the pit.
So you're saying that at some point Epileptic Kid is going to roll into there, and then they're going to kill him because
you
of
could technically
because they're
blinding light someone into the pit. As a PSA for all Dota players, watch out for this pit.
Well, that's why they put the Observer there, because they know someone's going to end up there later. Solo had to false promise himself, but should live. They don't want to commit any heavily. Save is here, as is Epileptic Kid. Miposhka ran down, and now Rubik with a lift on the side will find the Tusk as well. But don't worry, he picked up his GPM talent. Won't get the deny, but now he gets the additional gold. As does VP from the kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This ward is beautiful.
And I'm
Going
telling
on
you,
mid
there's
as
going to be an
well.
Ursa in there. They go like, guys, we have perfect vision over the bear. Get him.
I see. When that happens, you'll get full credit.
I think when that happens, I should just be invited to every tournament for the next year because that is the kind of prediction that only one insane person would ever make.
The preemptive ward into the Ursa. All right, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Got to play around clump. You know, we said, in fairness, T, that Dota is a game of mistakes. And was this a mistake from Veno, thinking he'd be safe here? There's the arena down. Breaks all the trees, of course. So Rezo, he sees everything. And guess who's on his way in? No one. A hero that does benefit from a blink. Gets in. Gets a steal. More wards. Has the Fade Bolt. Yoink. Thank you very much.
So much aggression coming out in all lanes.
Mid.
It's now instantly on mid as well.
And there you go. The counter to the Tusk is now the Ursa with his built-in little mobility from the Earth Shock.
It's so fun to watch just him do a little somersault. Like,
It
you
is.
thought you could shards me? Not today.
Like, oh, there's a Shaker to try and deal with. Nah, I'm just going to roll over that and keep chasing the core. Big glorious hero.
So the Ursa's actually opting to go for phase into straight BKB just so he can get around some of this damage from the HellRaisers.
Now they might be finding the mid lift. They got terrorized, charging it up, but they'll hold on to it. They're just trying to zone out the rest of the team. Will finally come through, scares off one. But now Tusk, he went in deep to try and save the day, but he will die alongside the Pugner as the spear pierces his face and ends his life.
He did kill the Pugner, to be fair, so...
Oh, they got the Rubik, yeah.
No, the Rubik, that's the... Yeah.
The other green
Rubik.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you're not Marty. I wouldn't expect you to be an expert on green heroes. But Bobo, he's trying to show us why he's an expert. He's got his Philosopher's Stone. He's going to have his Spirit Vessel soon. Really good item in this game. If it wasn't for the Dispel. That's the one worrying factor. It feels like the priority to eliminate Oracle in big fights is even higher now because of that pickup.
But again, this move, this VP are still defending their towers, and it's through this defensive towers it allows for them to always bring numbers to the later fights. So HellRaisers, they need to make sure they keep up this pressure, take away some of these towers, and capture some of these outposts so that they can start forcing VP to come to them rather than HellRaisers having to always just try and take the first move. So right now, HellRaisers' first move is unfortunately not always paying off.
No, and it's kind of worrying, this idea of when VP does bring their full team fight, right? Because we haven't seen the terrorized arena combo. We haven't seen the arena used in a big fight. It's always these pickoffs. And while you do have a Venom now with a level 2 Poison Nova, there is a concern that your heroes get bursted down a bit too quick to see all the dividends pay off from the damage over time. They're moving on to Ursa here. And Rage will be forced out of him. BKB as well. He's willing to run in and go for a kill. Strength of the Venom as he realizes that's a big threat. The double force stuff, though. BKB not paying off so far. They turn on to Seiyu. Protected by the Decrepify, but the
So
Curse
much
Crown.
kite.
And now the
So
root.
much kite.
That's a 10-second BKB, by the way. Ignis down. They now know the Ursa is an easy kill. He tries to roll away. The arena goes down, but he gets dragged in again. The life drain clipping on will bring him down. The arena is defensive to try and move away, but Oracle in the backline could not get close enough to save the core. Solo false promises himself, but so much damage onto him, he should still go down. And Mars, he's still controlled up. The Gale follow through. Solo is healed up. Never Blast to get him low. Rezo will definitely go down as he holds his shield up and says, please don't hurt me. Seiyu, nice dodge out with a snowball. Back in. Solo down as well. And all of a sudden, HellRaisers, they get the fight they wanted.
It's the over-aggression from VP. This Ursa, they're running into high ground. They have no vision into the high ground. And his initial BKB use, there is no way by himself he will ever kill someone. With the decrep, with the nuisance of the Venom, him having to use Enrage, having to use his BKB, there's like, the VP fights, they will win them if they take them into their own vision, into a little bit of a jump. Like the Mars going in first, forcing out the decrep potentially, then the Ursa can come in. When the Ursa's starting the fight, it's so easy to get the kite out.
It's a big thing. You need to initiate with a Mars. No one is initiating a fight in the river, and Epileptic is back. They already used the Gale. So this time, Venom maybe can go down the Enrage. Decrepify to buy some time. He says, screw it, Poison Nova. But that'll be a move back. No Shrine available, though, and they know that because they had all the Plague Wars down. But there's no chase from HellRaisers, and this might be the opportunity they were looking for to go Roche finally. Once they heal up, at least.
So it's at least Mars, he's gone for the pipe build to start. Some Mars players, they might be a little bit greedier, but this pipe is critical. HellRaisers are all about their early damage and trying to win key team fights at the start of the game to try and get a little bit more like opening. So if you can itemize to counter that, it puts you in a better position. It's just about how you approach the fight.
Experiencing Y Willow is frustrating, but he had the snowball. He is a pretty bulky boy at this stage. And no braces either.
Like right now, VP, they're probably going to want to split the map up. Wait for that extra item on the so potentially a basher. Some way to lock down the target you're going on. But it's really key that they jump the Pugna. If they don't jump the Pugna, this Decrep's just going to demolish the fight.
That was the awkward aspect of the last fight. You mentioned the BKB, that big 10-second. And you can see there was a moment where they could disengage. But it's almost like Ursa is desperate to make plays. Rezo, he is now going to cater to that because the Blink Dagger is just about to arrive. So maybe VP can strike before they even have the basher now. But they have to initiate with Rezo.
And again, HellRaisers, they got the exact same playstyle. Look at their vision. It's a little bit deeper now with this ward here, but again, it's the exact same in all the games that they've played in this series. They're playing back. They want VP to come to them. Maybe their adaptation in the series is, we know that VP will be aggressive, so rather than us trying to match their aggression, let's just make sure we play our defensive style a lot better. Like, their vision has improved over these games.
Mistake may have been made, though, because they go for the outpost capture so early. There's no way a Pugna does that solo. And you see the call from solo as they smoke up and rotate right round the back on VP.
But they are playing into HellRaisers' vision right now. So this could be very costly.
Smoke break, blink in. There's the big target. Pugna first. He said, you want now the arena. Perfectly placed. The Terrorize to scare them away. A second one will fall. Buyback out from Pugna, but Cole down. Buys back
Triple
as well.
buyback.
They have to. They've already committed hard. Rubik moves away with the remnant. Says, thank you very much, Ember. As he makes his escape, Seiyu trying for the kill into solo. The snowball throw, but no one still running for his life. Will just about get away. The Sleight of Fist can't finish him off now. The Walrus Punch on the solo. But he's wasting the rest of their team's time. Elmo won't be able to find the kill. He tries, but he's already gone. Moves away. Oh, no, wait, no. Rubik. He actually still gets caught out. It looked like he missed with the Sleight of Fist, but Rubik's still out of position. They do get some big kills. There is a concern about how much that cost them, though. 3 buybacks. 2 of them very big ones at this stage.
This is the type of fight that will allow Harris to take some objectives on the map. Sure, it's a triple buyback. Unfortunately, I think HellRaisers kind of lost focus a little bit there. Their mid lane was pushing in. They had that vision, and then they didn't respect the potential idea of a smoke. They didn't have a scan up, unfortunately, so...
Question is, can they even get this tower? Because the new Fortify just deleted the creep wave.
But they can't. Okay, so yeah, they killed the creep wave. There's no way to push, and this is how fragile the HellRaisers draft is. When VP walk through choke points into the Veno first and are kind of disrupted by the Plague Wards, then HellRaisers can use their kite. But when they're in the low ground and they don't have Plague Wards set up and they don't have a little bit of a control of an area, it's so easy for them to jump them. And with this Blink Dagger purchase on the Mars, this Pugna blew up so quickly at the start of the fight. And it is key for VP to do that.
Virtus.pro is doing the exact same smoke again. And HellRaisers just don't respect it. Nyx, he can't afford to go down like this. He's going to die. It's going to be the dieback.
HellRaisers, yeah, they seem to... They're using the vision that they have, and they're too comfortable with what they see currently. They're like, okay, so our jungle is safe right now, but... with how mobile this Mars is instrumental in VP forcing their aggression.
I will say that was incredibly close to being a dangerous smoke because there was a break potential right on the cliff, but you know, the difference is that you're coming there, you're standing there, and you're looking for D-wards, but you don't get the critical vision down. You get punished like this. It almost feels like HellRaisers are sitting here going, okay, you know, we don't have the biggest cooldown on our abilities, but neither does VP. And once again, Veno caught out of position in the river, stunned up and just dead.
It's all about how do they move around the map to turn anything into a kill. VP, they have every single hero, when paired with a core, can provide some type of kill potential. HellRaisers, they rely on like the Tusk snowballing in or punching, the Will-O-Wisp or the Ember Root. Like, it's really easy for VP to move around the map quick and turn a kill into an objective. HellRaisers, they need to be set up correctly. They need to punish VP's positioning to be able to take a key fight. And that's just the imbalance of the two drafts.
Ease of execution, lack of reliance on every member of the team. That's the thing. When you're about 20 minutes in the game and your draft is already, we need to 5-man, you better have a damn strong push, because otherwise you just feel like you're starving yourself on the map. And in fairness to them, net worth is pretty even on that end. But there is a concern that when you look at the cores, there's a small lead between the VP cores and the HellRaisers. And some of these use gold incredibly well early on. Rubik's perfect example. Ursa now having the Basher online. And as you said, Rezo just becoming more and more integral with the Blink Dagger, with the Pipe, and soon with the BKB.
I think the items coming out for Ursa now, these next fights are going to be extremely scary for HellRaisers. I think, yeah, the Blink, the Basher, it's like the items from Ember Spirit. He's got the BKB. It's like he's not going to survive if the Ursa gets that like one bash on him. No,
it's the classic the rule of thumb. If Ursa has overpower and a Blink Dagger, he will bash you first hit. Obviously having the Basher. And a Helm of Undying as well for the side of VP. Perfect for Oracle. Actually, probably the best item they could get now that they've got an Oracle in their lineup. Looks like HellRaisers, they're just trying to keep the lanes pushed out. I mean, this is one of the benefits to Ember. This is one of the big strengths from last patch, is his ability to just stretch the map, keep lanes pushed out. Can be risky as well, though.
Luckily, there is no hard lockdown outside of Mars trying to blink spear or the Rubik trying to get that lift off. So it is easier for Ember to play a bit aggressive until the Ursa picks up the Abyssal Blade.
Yeah, then his game becomes a bit of a nightmare. Ursa does not have that Blink Dagger, at least in the meantime. They're pushing on the bot lane as they didn't deal with this tier 1 that Dire has. And obviously the outpost is just double value to come down here at this point. But the rest of the team is still lurking mid. It's actually prioritizing their own farm for the time being. Let's see how it's looking for HellRaisers. What's the next big item? I mean, Nyx is going into this fairly greedy Dagon build right now. Against an Ursa especially. Like, especially when you think about, we talked about the fact that there's going to be BKB starting to come out for VP. In fact, I think they all, at least almost, yeah, Mars 500 gold off. Ursa already has the BKB. And Rubik has a BKB as well.
Yeah, it's imperative in this game. Like, HellRaisers, they have this, like they lack the physical damage. This Ember Spirit, sure, he's got the sleight of fist, but it's not enough to be scary about right now. It's later on in the game, Ember might get a bit more.
Also, Maelstrom doesn't proc on BKB anymore, so you can't even spread damage to the rest of the team.
Yeah, this is going to be a BKB is what wins these fights for VP.
The good news for HellRaisers, at least they do have a lot of mobility and potential save on their Tusk. Now he has Force Staff and Blink Dagger. But that is a small heartwarming moment when, you know, you go on this Dagon build. I'm guessing the plan for Pugno was blow up the Oracle straight away, but that Helm of Undying completely destroys that plan. A little bit worrying.
Oh, Oracle's right. Yeah, so if Oracle's got the Helm of Undying, he's always going to be able to get that ult off. It's like a safety net for his positioning.
Exactly. Yeah, we've seen it on Dooms a lot in previous games. It's just this whole idea of you can't just eliminate this one hero with this big crucial ultimate instantly. They get the window of opportunity to use it. Smoke movement.
Smoke up. This is
a long journey to the bot lane.
Like anytime VP smoke, I think it gives like an extra 20% chance that they should just crush the team fight. Because again, HellRaisers, they're dependent on being set up, and now this Coddle, he's going to get picked off. It was probably the best hero that HellRaisers could sacrifice to the VP lineup.
Yeah, the Pugno was a little bit far out, but the 4 staffs get him in and safe. Ursa still lingering around, but won't find Bobo. He knows he's in the area, but he looks the wrong way. However, if... Oh no, Bobo's going to be spotted. Mars is still here. They're TPing the shrine right now. It's panic mode for Bobo. He's got the 4
Cue
staff.
the Benny Hill music.
No, I think this will be a short-lived rendition of Benny Hills right now as they converge from 4 directions onto this Venomancer.
Ember doing as much as he can, trying to get the split push in.
Not really a tower hitter, though, is the big problem. In fact, they don't even come back. They just fortify, and then they get ready to go aggressive again because Veno's still dead for 50 seconds.
Yeah, it's just the movement from VP going from pickoff to pickoff, and it's all about where they want to play on the map. VP are always able to play on the other side of the map because they have this skirmish type lineup.
They're looking to skirmish top. He's been seen. He does have a blink though, which makes it a bit awkward.
He has a blink and a force. He's very mobile.
You just get close enough as Willow. You do have that Yules, but the problem is, even then, Curse Crown, it's a small window. If no one, however, sees Seiyu, he looks the wrong way. Spider legs, just to try and scout the trees, maybe. But he'll live. And now it's just a moment where VP, while they keep this pressure up, they do play in HellRaisers jungle. The priority is waiting out until the next Roche for them, right? Because Ursa, it is this type of hero that is reliant pretty heavily on Aegises to make those big pushes into the high ground. Or even maybe for a no-one in this game. Abyssal is complete as well. Of course, that Iron did get buffs recently. Gives you a mini blink, essentially, with the use of the Abyssal.
Yeah, and it's that mini blink that in a Venom situation where you're just slightly behind or slightly slowed, you don't have to use your BKB when you first walk up into that slow. You can use the Abyssal to close the gap, and now your BKB allows you to go for that next kill after.
True. Even if you have 4-staff, right? When you're halfway through the 4-staff animation, he can still Abyssal. And it's his...
Oh, Kodo getting picked off again.
More or less the same location as well.
Poor old soul.
And he's senile old man. He forgot that he was here a minute ago.
Tusk going for some aggressive wraparound. They might be trying to turn this into a fight right now.
He has the BKB though. He baits them in with the arena. Now 2 of them trapped in. Can he actually spear them? There it is. He gets the wrong one though. He wants the Venom, the lift, to make sure they can't do anything. They are backing away. Fadebolt gets Tusk low. But they can't finish him due
all
to
of VP are here. There's no Kodo.
This Bobo. He needs to 4-staff out. He has to use the poison over. BKB, Epileptic Kid charging in. He has got the Abyssal. He blinks the back line with the Enrage. Goes for the important one because the Pugna could save. Turns on a Bobo, but he can't even use the Decrepify in time. The Dagon does no damage as Oracle protects himself with the Fate's Edict.
Gone were the days of an Ursa that is kited. In an old patch, he'd be stuck at this high ground. But now, he walks up, instantly BKBs, connects onto the Pugna. That initial jump, so fun to watch this new Abyssal Blade.
Yeah. I mean, there was a period of time where they still kited him well, right? Because they were building 4-staffs. Some people were feeling, actually, you know, 4-staffs with the extra gold in the game, you can get more of them. And now they're not done. They pin him to the tower. Snowball save. They don't have the poison over, even with this buyback, though. It's worrying. False promise, pretty early on to Mars. They're not willing to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. They do punch him up in the air, though. Control looks good, but now you just set up a good arena. He's got 2 in there. He'll try and walk away. Will he even live through this? Decent amount of health still on him. Fate's Edict doing so much work here. Reduce so much that damage. The BKB's off cooldown. They bait in the Tusk. 4-staff to try and get him out, but he's stunned for so long. 4-staff, no! The panic! He turns around! He's back in the Abyssal now on a Bobo. Gets him low. Won't be protected with the Decrepify. Dead for 90 seconds, and Tusk has to buy back instantly. But Poshka trying to push them away. They still have not even taken a tier 3 tower. They haven't even taken a quarter of the health off it in all of that time on the high ground.
So many resources used from HellRaisers to get that defense. If VP just do a hard reset and take this exact fight again, it's going to be really hard for HellRaisers to try and, you know, get the victory in the fight.
Exactly. I mean, you count the buybacks. It's only 2, but it's 2 big ones. The Tusk saves, we've seen how crucial they are, and the Venomancer. If you don't have that Poison Nova damage, I don't know how you take a fight as HellRaisers. I don't think you can.
It's rough. Like we said, from probably the 15-minute mark up, HellRaisers need to. They're as they're jumping again with the Abyssal. Poshka 3 for 3 now in the same spot.
He's definitely senile. I wasn't sure before, but I think we need to get him into an old people's home at this stage. Seiyu. I mean, it's cute to interrupt him, buddy. Blink away, though. Oh, no, the terrorize. They'll spot now. It's too late, though. They ping it out. They did not get the outpost, but they already had one in the top lane, so even split on the XP.
Yeah, I think this game, it's hard right now. It's like HellRaisers there. They need to utilize the fact that the Ember can split push aggressively. Try and be a little bit more... I think he has to be a little bit cocky here, where... Sure, there's an Abyssal Blade, but he needs to push that extra wave. He needs to force VP to look behind them. Because right now, VP, they're only looking forward. And it's this forward-looking mentality that allows you to be so aggressive, diving the tier 3s. Because you have no fear of losing anything on your side of the map.
Exactly. And as this goes on, it just gets better and better. You look at the Ursa going for the Nullify next. It's going to alleviate the 4-star threat as much. I mean, they still have a lot of 4-stars, but... We've seen how that backfires in that last fight, right? Where everyone's trying to save the same target. You could get this incident where the Tusk got 4-staffed twice and ended up back where he started. Small things like that I mean, it's like trying to stay organized under the pressure of a big team fight like that. It can backfire. Tusk in the bot lane. Has got the snowball. Can he get away, really, is the question. With the Bedlam out, no, he can't. He's stuck here, forced off, but he's in the middle of an arena. And it's not a fight he wants, but it's one he has to take as he does die. Dead for 95 seconds. Ursa in the mid lane will BKB and leave as he realizes he's a bit out of position.
Yeah, he doesn't want to...
He's like, wait a second. You guys all gank and bot... Oh, yeah, I should leave. Oh, no. All right, Miposhka, he's not going to die this time. This is a safer side of the map. No one, however, might be in a bit of trouble. The Yule's
still has BKB, still has Jules. This is going to be a very clean disengage, but they can reset right now. The US is already running back down mid.
Miposhka's
trying to keep up this aggression.
Like, look at this call. He's running so far away from safety because this is the safer option right now.
He probably just wants to push in top.
And then TP out.
Yeah, it's all about, again, trying to make VP have a little look back. Because right now, they're so aggressive, so going forward. If there is creeps hitting the tier 2 top, they might go, maybe I should TP back. But in reality, they shouldn't.
Instead,
oh, no, Miposhka.
Oh, that was a bit too soon, buddy. He's going to be gone. Aegis and Cheese both get picked up by VP, and Miposhka's dead for 60 seconds again. Yule's in the mid lane, terrorized follow-up. Missed time, though. The BKB out in time from Elmo gets him out.
That was unexpected.
BKB had to be used, so...
Oh, still a big advantage.
Just pushing both top and mid lane.
Force the buyback out of Cole, but even then, your Ember still won't have the BKB for 55 seconds. You're at a stage where, yeah, just shoving out these lanes is cute, but it doesn't bother them that much. However, Ursa,
Veno, though,
there's no trees here at all.
The outpost.
Bashed up straight away, and he'll just follow you down. He has the Abyssal off cooldown. Hello, HellRaisers, Veno dead. No way to get back in.
Either.
It's still on cooldown for 3.5 minutes. He farmed the money, but he didn't think about the time. Mars, that was a very adorable Dagon onto him. Fate's Edict is a wonderful spell. Sure, you have a call buyback, but I think I recall mentioning Veno was your damage, and now he's dead for 60 seconds. VP aren't friend.
Veno was your high ground defense mechanism. He allows to try and build a wall between the supports and the cores when they dive, but when he's dead, they just don't care. Like, what is Rezo doing?
This has been him half the game. You may have missed it. I've been watching it the whole time. Oh, nice pin. Dragon Ember in towards the rack. Saved from the Snowball, though. Now the Abyss on the back line. Look at the Cult. Gets rid of him quickly. Snowball takes them deeper, however. Elmo with the BKB, but Tusk, he has no way to protect himself. Walrus Punch, he says, hell, just get out. Leave me. But the problem is now you're down to 2 heroes. 20 seconds till your Veno is up. And usually he's your mutually assured destruction mechanism, but not if you don't have heroes, as Pugna gets pinned to his own racks he's trying to protect. The Helm of Undying won't serve you well here, sir, as you won't even be able to protect your Ember, who gets hit up by a Terrorize, killed off, everyone is dead. GG comes out as it's a team wipe, and HellRaisers, it's all over. VP, they take the 3-0 victory, and they win Parimatch. As Veno, it's just Rezo doesn't even die to the fountain. I'm sorry, I found it comedial with the new Bulwark. The entire game, just him experimenting with weird little things.
I think this was just a Rezo being this game 3 sportsman-like. The little bit of BM at the start of the game, it was just a showing that VP has confidence in themselves, and I think that also kind of reflected in their drafts. You saw each draft VP had purpose, reason, and a clear way to play the game. I think it was just testament to Virtus.pro and their study of HellRaisers, knowing that HellRaisers, they're a very passive team. They like to play defensive. And even when they have an aggressive lineup, they're still going to try and play a little bit on their side of the map. And VP punished this 3 games in a row, each game having a low cooldown, high tempo lineup that even if they did get team wiped from a little bit of over aggression, it didn't affect their overall timing and ability to win the game.
That's the thing. You looked at HellRaisers and there were moments where you could say maybe you could see how this draft could actually fare. They finally, in the 3rd game, started to wake up to their issue, which is that they were their lineups were too lax. They couldn't apply pressure. But in this game, VP, I felt like the big highlight would have been in the draft where they baited the Veno pick. Because that final pick from Solo on the Oracle, it kind of alleviated any win that you could get off the Veno lane at all.
I think it's a product of VP drafted their draft and they weren't reacting. Like, they saw the coddle, then they just picked so the initial reaction was to Rubik Ursa into the Color, of course, but the rest of the draft was just building around a very decent tempo draft. HellRaisers, though, their picks are very reactionary. So the Veno is reacting into the Ursa. The Pugna pick is like, okay, so we need to kite the Ursa. It fares pretty well. It's a decent enough mid. It plays with our Coddle. So I think just in drafting, when you have the confidence in your players and the idea of what your team needs to do to win, you don't care as much about the opponent's lineup. And it's this style of draft that forces the opponent to pick some counters, and these counters naturally have weaker team play, right? So you saw in HellRaiser's draft, like their team, if you looked at it like hero for hero matchup, they have the heroes to deal with VP. But when you put all 5 together, it's like, oh,
It's like get the duct tape.
How have you ended up with this lineup? Unfortunately, so
it's a common trap, right? Like we see that a lot from maybe less experienced teams or the newer teams. Is they, instead of focusing how they complete their own draft, they get obsessed over how they counter each of their opponent's heroes.
Yeah, and that's just like one of the smaller things that build up, or the many things that build up into being able to win at this level of Dota. You have, of course, the draft is fundamental, but then it's how you play the map, how you force your timings, how do you come back from maybe losing a lane that you didn't expect to lose. And I think HellRaisers, when they're ahead in the laning phase and they have tempo, then they're in a good spot. They look promising. But when they're behind, they default play so defensive that VP can punish it so easily. And yesterday, when HellRaisers were playing against Team Spirit and then 178, these teams weren't as punishing. They gave a little bit more leniency towards HellRaisers, so that they got an extra item or two, so that when they came for the high ground, they could defend and could have these comebacks. But when HellRaisers, they play against these better teams, they need to build up a resistance to the pressure.
Maybe they'll take some of this to heart. They'll actually learn from it because, you know, in fairness, the way to look at this is you got an experimentation with the patch. This wasn't the DPC qualifier. That starts to kick off over the next few days, which, by the way, all the teams that were here, they are already in that. So especially HellRaisers and Virtus.pro, decent amount to take away. Yep. VP, got to be feeling confident. That's definitely a morale booster heading in.
But can I just say on the flip side, even though HellRaisers have lost this, I want to give praise to them to be actually adapting across this tournament. At the start, they looked like one of the weaker teams, but they were able to make the correct adaptations. Unfortunately, in the final, they weren't able to improve and adapt quick enough for the likes of VP. But for the CIS qualifiers coming up, HellRaisers, they look like in a good spot. Like these games, outside of this series, they were all pretty close, pretty back and forth. So it's just VP today. They just, of course, it's VP. They're naturally always on, or in history, they've always been on another level for the CIS region. Of course, the last major minor qualifier kind of tells a different story, but for now, right, it's looking like it's a VP scene.
Definitely looking a lot more promising than the first round of the qualifiers, but that kicks off in the coming days. I believe actually in less than 24 hours, the closed qualifiers will begin. So plenty of Dota action coming over the next several days, but that brings Parimatch to a close. We are done here. CIS Dota needs to go for a nap. It will be back extremely soon for the Dream League qualifiers, but Parimatch is done. Thanks for tuning in, folks. It's been a nice few days. We've got to learn a little bit about the patch, and most importantly, thanks to a combination of mainly the open qualifiers, we managed to get Lifestealer support nerfed. But there's plenty of broken stuff still to be discovered. Get to your pub games, figure it out, be a smart person before the pro players pull it out and say you thought of it first, and we will see you next time for more Dota action.